Scene 7. Enter cook and servant.
The cake! Alas, the cake! The very cake that Hamlet stole not hours ago, he now complains is not at table his? And when his mother finished scolding me, and looked but briefly on her maid, didst not you mark how Hamlet's smirk did pierce through feigned disguise of disappointment his? His pleasure lies not merely in his thievery, but in the witnessing of my embarrassment before the court. Didst not you mark his wink for his companions? Knaves, the lot of them, whilst Gertrude did berate me so? And she doth know of his iniquities in copious amounts, because I did but tell her so when she did grace his kitchen yesterday? It is unjust! It angers me injustice such as this, that I am loath to fight mine arm against desire to strike the prince across his smirk, despite the forfeit of my life.
'Tis so unjust, I warrant thee indeed. But such is our position in this land, and we are helpless to e'er find respite for waned soul of thine and withered strength.
I will not pass defeated by a vile boy who doth not know of life, nor pain, nor suffering, nor any discontent. I am not for much longer in this world, and if the culmination of my times to be rebuked and scolded as a dog for faults that be not in possession mine, I lose but little in attempt to thwart the prince, since I have lost what little I do value in my life and in my time.
Thou speakst from a frustrated, heated heart and disposition rash. Thou knowst not what thou sayest. Do rest, and seek respite in sleep. Thy great arduous task of fixing such a feast has left thy temper short and patience starved.
Thou blamest my practice and my art to be the fault for current mood of mine, but feasts that mark tenfold the portions here tonight have I prepared, with craft and care, with no amount of perspiration or a need of rest. But thou art now so blinded by thy faith and loyalty, you cannot find it in thy heart for moment's sympathy for I. Begone, thou hast no love for elder folks who know more of the operations of the world, and warn injustice longer than ye have. Begone, I say! That lad did once behave as son of mine, but royalty has taught him how to fawn and grovel for small favors, and he now does not but think on how to please those who do fain to e'en recall his countenance. Good end, good cook.
Hark! Who goes there?
The saucy merchant cook, who yestereve compelled the queen to come descend into thy chambers here. Iago is my name.
Sit thee? Thy face has changed much since yesternight.
Aye, I fear we share a similar plague, us two.
A plague of a misshaped face? Young man, my age may not appear as youthful as thy own, but certain be it lacks present aridity and hue of blue. Indeed, some maidens still on some occasion wave their lids and hands at me with knowing smiles.
If thou could now discern my face, 'twould mark I know you speak the truth. But face of mine be but a symptom of the plague I speak. The prince, of royal ache, did steal my face as readily as he purloined thy cake.
Thou knows of his last theft of cake?
Indeed, 'tis clear to any in the court, as is the light of day or dark of night, that thou art too proficient in thy practice to forego a single dish, and in particular a dish whose nature is a cake.
1,000 curses on that boy! Thou says the court is of full knowledge of my plight, and yet refrain to mouth a word, a sound, a syllable in my defense. 'Tis so, because they fear his father, and do fear to spoil his farewell feast with words unkind or of disdain. But 'tis a ruse, a mask of such gentility, benevolence, that hides their fear and petty cowardice. Prithee, O son of heat, do burn his skin till it transform to dust and ashes black. Or wind of oceans wide, do blow him off the battlements, and let him plummet to his death of cracked bones and broken neck. Or plague of god of death, do poison him until such boils consume the full extent of him. Or one can hope perhaps that on a rainy day his footing slips, and so it happens there a soldier left his pike upon the ground, a bented pike, and with its point so twisted towards the sky, his fall doth perfectly be caught by this skewed pike, and slices so that smirk from off his face, and then is eaten by the chickens of the field.
Thy curses here are justified. Methinks the time that passes thus before such things will e'er occur or will unfold is not unlike the time was spent by Greeks at Troy. A decade, and it only end when action from Odysseus o'erruled the place.
No man such as Odysseus is here. We are but cursed with hope, the bastard son of helplessness. I do not have the time of Greeks nor Trojans still, so dies my hope.
What can be hoped is possible. Our dreams do bloom from trees of our reality. What is imagined can be done. The prince be not the highest power here. We must effect what forces do control the prince, and make such everlasting change to him.
Didst not thou witness yesternight's events? Nay, thou stoodst there, and surely marked how queen and mother his didst resolutely frown, and thus ignored my accusations of his villainy, so practised in this room.
Aye, good cook, I did, but mother his be not the highest power in this castle, nor this land. Is father his attentive to the prince's villainy? Methinks not so. He speaks with earnestness, sincerity of his offspring's good qualities, and of his son's new growth into a man. No king with honor wouldst appreciate nor name what Hamlet steals, nor what he punishes for mere existence as an honor now.
The king is ignorant, as is the court, but verily 'tis easier to catch a butterfly in winter than to gain an audience with king of ours. 'Tis but a task for madmen, fools, and lunatics.
If madness be the key, then mad will be. Wouldst thou prefer to cook and clean for naught and serve as jester of the court for prince's whims for all eternity?
Alas, truly I do not. But on tomorrow's morn, the prince doth leave for Wittenberg, and so no time remains to do as thou suggestest, for this eve's feast be in his honor, and I deem it much unlikely that our king shall wish to hear of his iniquities so close to his farewell. The king is old, and whilst I do dislike to so berate the age of those so similar to mine, what's old dislikes what contradicts beliefs that have been in its mind for years on years. Most certain king would soon prefer to die with base belief that son of his is worthy still of kingdom and of crown.
Alas, alas the day, my lord, alas, what day, what night wouldst be so cruel to lay this fortune on my head? O father, do hear me now, but curse this day below.
How now, Cordelia? What tears, what sobs that heave upon thy chest? What causeth this?
The queen, oh, wretched day.
What now? Thou speakest of the queen? What of the queen? O daughter mine, Cordelia, find means to speak.
She has disbanded me. This eve begged leave of services, despite so many years as servant waiting her. O father, how now am I to live with such great shame upon my brow, upon my family, and you?
Disbanded thee, thou say'st? What madness now? Thy mother served the royal family and hers before, and hast requested now for thee to end thy waiting and long work? For why? Wherefore? O prithee answer, girl, what hast thou done to earn this shame?
Alas, I cannot answer thee, for thou wilt rail thy words upon my heart, and smite my back for shame. I dare not answer thee.
Will not? Fie upon thee! I will smite thee for not answering when I did so demand. This will not go unpunished here, till I am satisfied with some excuse God's bred.
Some jealous maid that did hear me yester eve, though silent I did strive to be. Some maid informed the queen of some such awful deeds, some dreadful happenings of yesternight, that I do swear did not so willingly commit as she did make it sound.
What deeds? What happenings dost thou so speak of now? Repeat them, girl, or I do lose my patience and unlatch my belt.
The prince did ask of me, did so demand of me upon Storm's Peak, to join me in my chambers in the night, and so was heard by jealous maid, a maid of vicious loyalty and cruel intent.
And didst the prince so join thee there?
Alas, I swear I didst desire it not, nor found the smallest pleasure in it. I beg of thee, dear father, find it in thy means to see the truth of it, that I was so compelled by a fear of consequence, not knowing this to be the consequence of slaving ear to please this cursed family. Thou must believe my words. I ne'er so willingly upset my family. Believe thy daughter, lord.
O prince, thou canst not be content to take my work without the theft of daughter mine.
I do believe thy words, fair maid, and judge that you have been so horribly abused by man and royalty alike. If there be some divinity in authorship of actions of this boy, then I defy divinity in heaven by this hand. Wilt thou now sink into the stupor of a broken man? Art thou not head of this abused household here? Thy daughter lies beneath thy feet, and still thou sits as a whipped dog, permitting shame the likes of this upon thy home, thy heart, and family? Is this still lacking in excuse to now embrace the madness we did speak of but mere moments past? The ocean's storm did pass but ours. The storm within our hearts began, a storm enough to capture ears of kings and queens and realms and courts. What sayest thou?
I, my friend, my saucy merchant, 'tis fate that brought thee here upon this eve, to aid my plight and daughter now, to break the walls of Troy, and find an end, whether it be some justice or untimely death. Come now, my daughter, we shall on this eve regain thy honor thus, by outrage valiant,